class, over the next few weeks, we are going to be working on some more challenging multiplication problems. And so, what I thought I would do is take a moment to just show some of and review some of what we've already learned about multiplication. And I've decided to use an array form to talk about it today. So, when we get a problem to solve, for example, maybe 2 times 4. We know that this problem is asking for us, is asking for us to create 2 rows of 4 in each. So I'm going to go ahead and create a 2 by 4. There's 2 by 4. I'm going to go ahead and fill this area in. So 2 times 4 is represented by 2 rows with 4 in each. And so the total would be 8. I'm going to go ahead and color it in just because I can. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I know that 2 times 4 is 8. Well, we can use what we know about this to solve more complicated problems. So for example, we can take 2 times 4, and instead of 2 times 4, we could make it, let's say, 7 times 4. Oh, 7 times 4 is a challenging problem, but the cool thing about math is that we can break these numbers apart. So I'm going to go ahead and draw out 7 times 4 just because I think it'll help with what we need to look at here. I'm going to move this over here. Now I'm going to create a 7 times 4 grid, and I'm going to make it in a different color. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do it over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A 7 by 4. Okay. Now I could spend the time counting up each of the squares in this rectangle that I've created. I know that I've got 4 across the top and I've got 7 down. But the cool thing about a problem like 7 times 4 is we can break it apart to make it easier. And I'm going to show you how. So instead of 7 times 4, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to break that 7 apart because 7 is a harder number for me to count by. But I do know how to count pretty easily by 5s. And by 2s. So I'm going to go ahead and take this 7, and instead of 7 times 4, I'm going to go ahead and figure out what 5 times 4 is. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I can do that easily because I can just go 5, 10, 15, 20. So I know right now that what I have here is 20. I'm going to label it. Oops. So I have 20 units in this box right here. I'm going to go ahead and make it smaller. Okay. So I have 20, but I still have to account for this down here because I'm doing 7 times 4. So you'll notice that I'm left with a shape that looks a lot like this one we solved already, 2 times 4. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color in that 2 times 4. Oopsie, I forgot to pick my marker. I'm going to color it in a different color. I'm going to color it in darker. So, oops. See, these tools do not work that well for me all the time. All right, so I know that 7 times 4 is the same as saying 5 times 4 plus 2 times 4. So what's going to be super helpful over the next several weeks while we work with these more challenging numbers is to recognize that we can break apart those numbers to make them easier for us to think about. 7 times 4 ends up being kind of a lot to deal with, right? We'd have to go through and hope that we don't miscount if we count by ones. Counting by fours isn't super easy. Counting by sevens isn't super easy. But if we break it apart and take this 7 into 5 and 2, well, we can do 4 groups of 5 and we can do 4 groups of 2 in our heads. We can count by 2s really easily and we can count by 5s really easily. So this is one strategy for solving more challenging multiplication. All right. In today's assignment, I'm going to provide you a grid and I'm going to provide you a more challenging multiplication problem. And I want you to see if you can use arrays and break apart that number in a way that makes sense to solve it more easily. All right. Off you go.